So I'll just tell you, because sometimes profile makes such a difference, and not just the profile for namesake, the work you've done. Please. So at 7:20, if someone is going to Wharton, that means this person must have had some extraordinary pedigree to showcase, but just a graduate as well. So what can an undergrad achieve or do? And she's been doing this for 7 years. When she was in school, high school or something, she started this community, and then it's really turned into a colossus right now. So something to watch out for, and really an inspiration of all kinds. When she first spoke to me, rather than me inspiring her, I was more inspired by her story to do something bigger in my life. So you can imagine, that's the kind of people, and that's the kind of community we also build here in enabling these kinds of journeys. And another thing, no matter what your journey, no matter what, if you don't have a decent score, at least there is no shot at it. If this girl at 680 didn't get admission, I can guarantee nobody under 700, or even at 720 also, Wharton is impossible. We last year we had a student called Shivika Bhasin. Please look her up as well. I'm sharing these stories. Yes, we are drifting from SC. I'll finish it, I promise. But Shivika Bhasin had a score of 710, and she got into Harvard, Wharton, Booth, Kellogg, Columbia, MIT, Stanford, all seven, because she worked with a place. Before that, she had had a background in consulting. She had worked with Haryana government, and in schools, installed 70,000 computers in Haryana schools, and worked with Bain Consulting from an economics background, 3-4 years work ex, and then moved into impact sector, social impact. And she was working with Tony Blair Foundation. Tony Blair was the ex Prime Minister of Britain, directly working under Tony Blair. And that's how we pitched her story. I pitched her story completely myself. The entire story, I prepared her for the interview. Look her up on her channel just to understand that this is not something that will happen for most of us, but still it is so inspirational to know that people have had such tremendous journeys. The kind of community that we try to build. Even this person, I can't even begin to tell you how nervous she was before an interview, because, and she joined Harvard, by the way. She rejected even Wharton, because Harvard brand is Harvard brand. And before her Harvard interview, 12 hours before that, she was so nervous, I can't tell you, because it's Harvard, like 20 minutes. You are after that either a Harvard MBA or never a Harvard MBA. Imagine how critical these 20 minutes or 30 or 40 minutes will be. I told her exactly how to talk, what would be your first response, irrespective of the question. What would be your second response? How will you fit this line in? How would you talk about Tony Blair by not sounding like name dropping? Because you talk about someone, oh, I talk, that is it. So I really framed her pitch line by line, and then this landed, and we had all the seven admits to M7 schools, all M7. It is one of the most incredible stories once again. So sometimes the work you do and the profile you have, if you have 700 plus, these schools are willing to look at your profile. At least at below 700, your admission profile will also not be open for people, normal people, normal as in the, if you belong to a wider demographic, that let's say, you're from chartered accountancy or information technology, IT engineer sort of background, obviously you're an overpopulated demographic, so you'll have to get a 750 plus. Like we had Harjas also, who was from BBA background, did nothing so great, but he's also got into what. So it's not like one has to be so awesome, not like that. But yes, you have to create a differentiator. So I hope this really gave you some insight. We'll also have another person join us soon, but in the meanwhile, let's continue. Let's see. Yeah.
Does the profile help in getting the scholarships, or do you think higher
No,
score would have
profile
made it?
doesn't. You need to have a score. She also didn't get any scholarship to Wharton. Profile, because I probably told you before joining also, somewhere I may have told this. Till 5 years ago, your profile used to get you a scholarship. But as I said, people take to, Americans, or people in America, or they have a huge tendency to take the organizations to court. So somebody was able to take some business school to court as to how do you guarantee that this profile is better than this profile? Like, how is an IT engineer profile not as good as a climate change crisis solvers, whatever profile? Like, we are also working there, also working, and there is no way you can prove it. So the school lost the case, and then the GMAC and this body later, they decided this very clearly, that we will allow it on something that is quantifiable. There is no way to prove one profile is better than the other until there is an. Now what is the most quantifiable aspect of application? GPA could have been there, but GPA is various institutes have various GPAs, but one thing is GMAT. So the about 5 years ago, this decision was taken unanimously by the entire MBA community, especially in the US. I'm saying this is not for all MBAs, but yeah, I think it applies across the board. The GMAT is the only decider these days for scholarship. That's why that Sharan Hegde, he's an internet influencer, finance educator, got recommendations from two of the CEOs of fintech companies, both in $1 billion plus space. Imagine two CEOs, because both CEOs are his followers on Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook and whatever, YouTube. Despite that, he got an admit at 7:30. Admit, yes, Columbia is where he wanted to go. He got Columbia, but no scholarship. You want a scholarship, please don't be happy with a 720, 730. There's no way. And you want to go to Wharton if you have a decent kind of profile. As I'm not denouncing anything, as I said, there is no way to prove which is better, but there is a differentiator. It's about overpopulated versus underpopulated, not better. It's like, who can say a chartered accountant's job is better than an electronics engineer? Nobody in the world can prove anything in this. Or an artist job is worse, nothing. Yes, if you're an overpopulated demographic, then definitely they want to build pockets of all kinds of candidates. So this is important, though. mm, just understand, profile differentiator, if you don't have, then genuinely try to create through your story, through your achievement, the way you write your resume, all of that in the recommendations. But the biggest differentiator you'll create is your exam score only. Genuinely saying this, and especially for top schools, there is no way you can think that this will work out so easily, that yeah, you just don't have a score. Very difficult at 720. For most people, a Wharton is not even an application dream, forget a selection dream. I mean, this is just out of a reach, because Wharton's average score is above 730. It used to be 740. It has been relaxed because of the pandemic. But if the average is 730 and your score is not 750, being an Indian, you forget it, is in the most cases. And this. Now, there's one more thing, how you turn your story around, because at 700, there is almost a barrier in their mind. Below 700 will not even read some. After 700, they do read. So at least you have an entry barrier, and this foot in the door you have at 700, they'll read it at least. After that, it is your thing how you write. And Garvita was guided exclusively by Autry. I used to just have these calls because I just liked her profile, and such a young student trying to build something. I wanted to really make sure I guided her to give all the talks also. So wherever she's gone and talked in big stages, her videos are there publicly. I presented as in, I told her what is it that would work in this situation, etc. So yeah.